Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Melissa and this is Melissa Knits for Fun. Well guys, today is jam-packed. I've got not just one but two finished test knits to talk about today. And I've also got a multitude of whips, as you can probably see here. I've had a couple that I've cast on, and I went absolutely crazy around local yarn store day, along with an order that I had already placed came in, so I've got quite a few acquisitions. And there is so much to cover that I normally don't do this, but this time I brought a few notes just to make sure that I got into everything. Now, before we get started with what I'm wearing, I want to talk for a second about the Tolsta knit along. Guys, we've got a knit along. We have a chat group already started on Instagram, and I'm going to get fancy. I'm going to put a little QR code right up here. If you want to join in the Tolsta knit along, if you want to join the chat part, you can use that QR code and it will take you to the chat and you can join right in. If you are like, I really want to join the knit along and I want to knit along, but I don't want to do the social part because that's not me, then you can just use the hashtag on Instagram to post your items, and that is Tolsta Tee, just one letter, and I will put that up here in fairly large letters so that you'll be able to see it, but it's going to be Tolsta KAL. That way that one single T can stand for t-shirt or tank. So I will put all of that up here, and then guys, whips are welcome. So no matter what stage you're in, if you've just cast on, if you just got to weave in some ends, if you're halfway through, go ahead and join. And you don't have to have it finished in order to be entered for the prizes. But what you do have to do is use that hashtag Tolsta KAL and post that, because that's where I will choose from the winners. And we're going to have two prizes. I am going to provide one of the winners a pattern of their choice up to $10 US, and Rebecca Clow has graciously agreed to give one of her patterns as a prize as well. So there will be two patterns that you will be able to enter for. All right, if you have any questions about any of this, feel free to drop them in the comments, or you can just go and join the chat and ask, or you can instant message me on Instagram. You can message me on Ravelry. I'll get those as well. I am Melissa Knits for Fun pretty much everywhere except for Ravelry. So you can find me at Melissa Knits for Fun here on YouTube. You can do it on TikTok and on Instagram. On Ravelry, it's just my name, Melissa McCall. All right, guys, so with that out of the way, and I'm very, very excited. It's the first KAL that I am hosting, and right now I think we have 14 people in the chat, so it is taking off. We're already starting to have conversation around what people are working on, whether they're going to do the tank or the tee, if they're going to do a modification, you know, all of those things. And then some people have been sharing yarn, and some people have been asking about, hey, do you think this yarn would be okay? I love this part. It is a virtual community. So guys, go ahead and join along if you have any interest in knitting this. Or if you just want to join the chat and you're like, you know what, I just want to come and chat with y'all, but I don't actually want to knit that, go ahead and join the chat. The more the merrier. All right, guys. And with that, I am going to pivot, and I'm going to talk about what I'm wearing, because this is the Ewa by Natasha Hornsby, or Moonstruck Knits. Oh my gosh, I cannot say enough good things about this pattern. This is the first sleeveless top that I have ever put on that I felt good in, at least since I've gotten larger. I mean, when I was a teenager, right? Whatever. Thought I was fat. Whatever. I was not. I was a little twig back then compared to now. But this is the first thing that I've put on that I was like, wow, I don't need sleeves because this looks really nice on. So I'll put a picture up here to show you. And it was before I picked up and put the ribbing on. It was just a raw edge there whenever I put it on, because my plan was I was going to make short sleeves. And I put it on and I was like, oh, actually, I think I should just leave this sleeveless. So this is a test knit. It should be released the day before this episode airs. The last I heard, the plan was to release it on May the 1st. So it should be available. If it's not, it will be available very shortly, because I do know she's going to release it the 1st of May. I knit this, guys, it didn't take me hardly any time. It is a super fast knit. And I did it on US 4 or 3.5 millimeter needles. So it was a smaller needle, not tiny, not like a 3 millimeter or a 2.5 US, but a 4 is not large. And I had to rip out about 100 rows because I had knitted it too big, because this is a bottom up construction. And so it is a little bit harder to gauge how it's going to fit. But when I got it to almost the point where I was going to start splitting for the sleeves, I mean, I was up here. I was probably right around in here. And I was like, this looks really big. And so I put it on, and no matter how much I like squeezed and did, it was going to be too big, because the positive ease on this is 1 to 2 inches. It doesn't call for a lot of positive ease. So I absolutely could have made it with a lot of positive ease. But this is a test knit, and I do try to follow what is recommended in a pattern whenever I am test knitting. So I did rip back about 100 rows. It was not a pattern problem at all. It was a me problem. I had originally started knitting it on a US 6. I had done a very small swatch, and that swatch lied to me. Had I just done what I had said I was going to do, which is just do some of it and then block, then I would have seen that, oh, that 6 is too big. Or I probably would have just started with the 4, and I would have been like, oh, that's fine. So anyway, I ripped out about 100 rows, and then I re-knitted it, and it just didn't take me any time at all. And especially after I split for sleeves, it was over in just no time. This part here, super, super fast. Super fast. And the back is just stockinette, so that wasn't hard. Or, well, not just stockinette, it's got the little eyelets. But it wasn't this lace. So this was a very, very enjoyable knit. I absolutely loved it. She does have instructions as well for sleeves. She does 3/4 sleeves. I'm actually going to do completely long sleeves and take them all the way down to my wrist to make one to wear in like early spring and in fall, and maybe even early winter here in the South. And I'm going to use this same yarn, which is Drop Spell, but this one is the colorway red. Very imaginative color name, but it's just red. And then the one that I'm going to do the long sleeved in is going to be navy. All right, I don't know what else to say about this pattern other than how enjoyable it was. It really is well written. This was my first Natasha Hornsby pattern. I own a ton of her, and I do mean a ton of her patterns, and I have yarn for a ton of her patterns, but for whatever reason, they've just not bubbled up to the top. There's been new shiny stuff for me. And so when I got the opportunity to test knit this, I was like, oh yes, let me try out her patterns. Guys, her patterns are going to bubble up because it was so well written. I love her writing style. All right. And with that, I am going to, well, actually, I will wait. There is something I want to talk about respecting designers whenever you are a podcaster. We'll get there in a little bit. But first, let me go ahead and show you the other test knit that I got done. And that is the Waffle Tee by the Knit Pearl Girl. And I did not pin my sleeves because this is it does roll a little bit. It's just an I-cord. And so I didn't pin my sleeves. I should have, so that they would be flat. But guys, this is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. It is a little bit boxier than what I like. So if I were to make this again, most likely what I would do is I would make probably the size that I've made here, because I do actually like how it fits up here. So I would probably make this size, but then I would only increase to the size smaller. So I would probably increase less, and then I would have less, you know, I'd have a little bit more shape to it. But it is a boxy pattern. It just is what it is. And I do like it. And I will try to get some B-roll and put it in here so that you can see a picture of me actually wearing it, but you can get an idea with me holding it up here. It's really, really pretty. And guys, it smells so good right now. Oh my gosh. I think it was Eucalyptus Jasmine. It smells so, so good. And so I did do what I normally do. I know that I talk a lot about I put things in the washer and dryer, but typically what I will do, the very first block, I soak it in wool wash, and then I run it through the spin cycle on the washing machine, and I lay it flat to dry. Not always. Not always. It depends on the fabric and stuff. And it depends on, do I need it to plump up? And then I really do need to soak it and not just run it through the washer, but then later I might run it through the washer. This one will probably go in the washer. It's a silk cotton polyamide blend. Or maybe something else in there. But it will probably go in the washer at some point. But I do always use delicate, and if I do put in the dryer, because I do put my pure silk, and like this I would put in the dryer. I would put my Anchor Tee, anything that's a cotton base. I don't put it in there on high heat. I usually put it in there like on a mid-level heat or even a low heat. And then I don't always dry it to completely dry. I'll have it, pull it out when it's a little bit damp. So there are ways that I mitigate it to make sure that I don't ruin my knits. All right. But if you are at all worried, make sure you hand wash. All right, so here we go. This is the Waffle Tee by the Knit Pearl Girl. And this was a test knit. It is not due out, and the test knit is not due until the end of May. So it's got a little ways before it's going to actually be released. So y'all got to wait for a little bit. I'm sorry. There are some absolute stunning, stunning, stunning colors that have been knit as part of this test knit. I used the Noro Sonata in the colorway Magenta, and you can see it's got some tonal qualities, right? It's got a little bit of stripiness. I love all that. I don't like the slubbiness of the yarn. I just don't like slubby yarn. I just don't. So I will knit with the Noro I've got, and I will knit with like the Juniper Moon Zoe that I've got and stuff like that. I will knit with slubby yarns that I have. I just won't be buying a lot more. All right. Some of the other ones, though, were knit out of what she recommends is a Sayer Trio 1 held double versus just a Sayer Trio 2. Well, people used Trio 2 and people used Trio 1 held double. And let me tell you, the strawberry colorway, that red, another one of those cartoon ooga, that colorway is beautiful. So is the Time, which is a really pretty, nice green. I really, really liked those. I'm going to have to get some Sayer either Trio 1 or Trio 2 in my life because it is just stunning. All right. Again, not a lot to say about the pattern. I mean, it is what you would expect if you've ever knit anything by Sophie, by the Knit Pearl Girl. You know, she is a really good pattern writer, and some of her older patterns are really wordy. Like I have the Semper V-Neck, and I tried to knit it one day and I was like, okay, I cannot do this. This pattern is so wordy that I just had to put it down. I am going to circle back and go ahead and do that because I think I could handle it now. But she has gotten so much better. This was not super wordy. It did have stuff at the beginning like here's how you do some of these stitches and all. But this was all charted. And then the rest of it was like, do this increase and then do this and this section go here and do these things. It was very, very well written. So I really, really enjoy her patterns. Just a beautiful, beautiful, wonderful pattern. And when it comes out, I will let y'all know. And I will wear this next week. I wanted to make sure that I wore this one today since it is going to release by the time that this shows. But I'll wear this next week. All right, moving right along with test knitting, I have one more test knit on my needles, and that is also by the Knit Pearl Girl, and that is the Cove Raglan. Okay, I have one sleeve complete, And I've got the other sleeve down to where I did my first decrease. Guys, I screwed up the sleeves. I read the wrong size for how often I was supposed to decrease. I read that I was supposed to do, I think, 4 every 23 rows. So I was supposed to do it every 23 rows 4 times. That is not the case. I think I was supposed to do every 17 5 times or something like that. Anyway, I wound up doing the math. I went and so I adjusted it. I did get down in the number of rows that I was supposed to the number of stitches I was supposed to, so that then I could do the rapid decrease that she has you do down here to create a little, I'm trying to find it now. It creates this little decorative thing here that you really can't see me holding it up, but it's a little bit of a blousiness right here. You do a rapid decrease right along in here. And so I did get everything right, but I had to adjust where I was decreasing. But guys, this is just a plain everyday raglan, but I am obsessed, and I do mean obsessed, with this neckline and with this pattern and with this yarn combination. It is just a trifecta for me. This is a super easy pattern. And it does come, well, right now, the pattern is the Cove sweater. And it is a drop shoulder sweater. If you already own it, you will get the other 2 versions as the update in September. If you don't own it and you purchase it after the update, you'll get all 3 versions. And that is this raglan, the original drop shoulder. She's doing updates on all of these. And then there's going to be a vest as well. I love a raglan, so the raglan is what I will make every time. And like I said, it is just, it's beautiful. And I've put it on. It's absolutely gorgeous. I am in love with this pattern. And this yarn combo, oh my goodness. I have it again. It is felted tweed and mohair, both by Rowan. And as you can see, this is kind of a muted purple. It's pretty. And yeah, I could wear it. And I could definitely wear this. This is a beautiful, almost black. I mean, it's called black currant. This is bilberry and this is black currant. And they are beautiful by themselves, but when you put them together, look at what a beautiful, beautiful fabric you get. You get the best of both worlds. It is just stunning. All right, not a whole lot to say about that. It is due in September. I will get it done before then with no problem. And it is the only test knit I have left. But never fear, because you know that, right, I'm going to have a test knit. Well, I saw today where Melanie Roundtree, for Roundtree Stitchery, and I'm going to put her Instagram down in the notes because she did a test call today. I got the newsletter announcement for it, so I got the email for the test call. And I went out and applied immediately. I'll put a little picture up here of what the sweater looks like. I'll put her Instagram picture. She's doing a test call on Instagram as well. So if you're at all interested, because you know what? Some of the smaller designers can really struggle trying to fill all of the sizes for their test knits. So if you're at all interested in dipping your toe into the water of the test knit world, Melanie would be a great designer to do that with. She is very laid back. She runs it on Discord. You do not have to participate in the chat. You can just email if you want to. But she is so incredibly kind, and she is so encouraging. I have loved every time I've test knit for her, and I've test knit for her 3 times. I would become a permanent test knitter for her if I could. I mean, I love her. I have to tell you, I'm biased. She is from Arkansas, so I am biased towards her, but I have really wonderful experiences with her. She has always, if I've had a problem, she's always answered. She's always helped me try to figure it out. The very first one that I did, the Forest of Arda, where the trees were going to be right here. Like, literally, the trees were going to be right here. Going, woo, look at the girls. Well, we talked about it. She was like, you should just knit some more until you get them further down to where that you're comfortable, which is what I kind of thought, but I also didn't want to deviate too much from the pattern. but my row gauge is never quite right. So she helped me work through that, and she's just been a delight every single time I've tested it for her. So I applied, and I've got a couple of yarns I'm thinking about, because this is a worsted weight, and it is a plain compound raglan sweater, except for you'll see on the sleeves there are cables. And so I know you typically don't use like a speckled or anything for cables, but I am going to swatch with this. This is, I mean, I'm assuming I'm going to get picked. I should not assume I'm going to get picked. Let me preface that with, if I get picked to test knit, I am going to swatch with this to see what it does do for the cables. Because if you completely lose the cable pattern in this yarn, I won't use this yarn. But if you see the cable pattern and they're interested in this yarn, I may use this yarn, because this is Blue Sky Fibers. It is the printed organic cotton worsted. I think it's a discontinued yarn, but I've got 10 skeins of it. And the colorway in this is Mayflower. I really like it, and I've been trying to find something to do with it. And I think this might be the one. But like I said, if you completely lose the cable detail in this, then I won't use it. I have a backup yarn, and that is this right here. And so if that does not work, then I will use this, which is the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted, and the colorway is, maybe if I can see, oh my gosh, that's hard, Columbine. It is Columbine. So if I don't use that one, provided that I do get picked, then I will use this purple, and I've got 2 cones of it, so I've got plenty of yarn. So hopefully I will have another test knit on my needles soon, and it's not due until the end of July, so plenty of time. All right, now moving along, I'm going to talk about my summer knits, because I really do want to get some of these off the needles, because I want to have a couple more summer tops. The first one that I think I probably will get done first will be this Tolsta Tee. And that is, it goes this way. That's because this is on the size 8, and it's going really fast. So I will most likely have this done in the next week or 2, and get that off of the needles, and then I'll probably cast, well, I know I will cast on another one for the KAL, because I'm going to do a 4-ply or a fingering weight. So this is the Tolsta Tee by Rebecca Clow. I am working it up out of the Holst Garn Lena in the colorways black and white. I want a black and white striped shirt, and I just think it's turning out beautifully. I love black and white. I just think there's something so classic about it. And I have been wanting this since last year. I actually cast it on last year and just did not get around to finishing it. I actually put it on hold. And then whenever I picked it up this year, I couldn't actually figure out where I was at. So I had to rip it out and start it over. But now I'm probably about halfway done. I would hazard a guess that I have, you know, the rest of this black and then another white. And then I'm probably going to finish it on a black. And then I will finish the sleeves on black as well. So, shouldn't take me too much longer. I don't know if I'll get it done this week. It depends on how much I focus on this particular one. But as you will see, I have a lot of things to work on. So, we'll see. Definitely within the next couple of weeks. All right. Moving right along. I also have another one that was hibernating. Well, both of these actually were hibernating this winter, because I had cast on last year. And one of the ones I really want to get done is this Soul Mosaic. I haven't gotten a ton done, but I definitely have gotten more of the body done. And all I've got to do is finish up the body. There will be some sleeves that are picked up, but it shouldn't take me very long. This is going to take a little bit longer to do, though, because this is on a US 2.5 or 3mm needle, and that's tiny. And so it's not going near as fast as the Tolsta Tee. This is the Soul Mosaic Tee by Claudia Quintanilla, and I am knitting it out of Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in the colorways cream and navy blue. And I am in love with this yarn. I am in love with this pattern. It is very, very well written. The pattern is charted. I don't know how much I love, love, love the chart and how she sets it up. But I will say, using it, I do this chart. I did this chart on my iPad using Knit Companion, because how she sets it up is there's a chart, and then there's things like, if you're this size, start here. If you're this size, start here. If you're this size, start here. So you have to figure out. And on Knit Companion, it allows you, there's not just a bar that you can do to keep track of your chart rows. There's also one here that you can move over. And so what I did was I moved that little bar over to, this is where I need to start for my size. And so that made it easier to read. Plus, I lost the written pattern that we were given. This was part of our knitting retreat stuff that we got for the Fruity Knitting Retreat in Costa Rica. And she gave, Claudia gave us the pattern that was not out at the time. It now is out on Ravelry. And she gave us the yarn. And so part of that was there was a written pattern, and it was very easy to read, that little chart, even though it was kind of small. It was easy to read, and I was using that, and I lost that. And then whenever I printed it, it did not print out the same. So I used the Knit Companion on my iPad. It's coming right along. It's very well written. It's a really nice yarn. And this one will probably be the end of May before I would even think about getting this one done. All right, and then my last summer knit that I'm working on right now is the Cumulus Tee, and I did get a lot done on this, because you can see, oh, and last week I said, oh, I have 5 rows before I split for sleeves. No, I had 5 rows before I started the compound raglan part, where I had to increase for the body only every single row for 17 rows. So I was 22 rows away from splitting for sleeves last week. So I did get split for sleeves, and I've not done a ton. As you can see, I don't have very much of an underarm, but I did get those 22 rows done, and I've gotten a few rows after that, and it is fitting very, very well. And I did knit this one a size smaller than what I thought I needed to knit, and I'm really glad that I did. And I am starting to make decisions about knitting things smaller than what I think I need, and I'm finding that they fit me better. So there's that. I just have to stop seeing myself where I was and see myself, my body, for what it actually looks like now. And that is true whether you have gained weight or lost weight or anything else. Love the body that you have right now, and clothe the body that you have right now, not how you see yourself, right? So be sure that you are clothing yourself appropriately to however you like it. Now, if you like a lot of ease, knit a lot of ease, right? Nobody has the right to tell you how much ease that you need. I don't want it to be so big that I feel like I'm swimming in it. And this one just fits perfect. I really, really like this, and I really like the color. This is the Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the colorway Haze. And I love this yarn. I know other people do not. I love this yarn. I do wash it and dry it, but I love this yarn. I have 2 other tops that are made out of this. Oh, and I will have many more tops made out of this. I love the yarn. I love the color. And this is a petite knit pattern. It's the Cumulus blouse, so it's very, very well written. I love petite knit. I like her aesthetic. I like having staples. And then she also has things that are not so stapley. There's cables, there's color work, there's stuff like that. But I love having staples. I love having something that I can just throw on and not have to think about how I'm going to style it. And so I like having things like this in my wardrobe. It makes it really, really easy for me to wear. And I am going to wear my knits. So I like having everyday things. And so, like I said, Cumulus blouse, petite knit, Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the colorway Haze. All right, that's it for the summer knits. Now I'm going to move on to the gift knits. And there's a few of them here. And there's going to be one more that's going to be added. And I'll tell you about that in just a second. we'll start with my brother's. And while I didn't get a ton more done on it, I did get a couple more cable completions done. So you can see it's coming right along. It's starting to actually look like the back of a sweater now. It's getting long enough. I do need to measure it because I'm not sure how long I've got to measure it. At some point I'll have to do some kind of probably arm shaping. So I do need to look at the pattern, but I've just been knitting right along and it is so beautiful. This is the Scottish Ale by Wise Owl Knits. Very well written. It is a very short pattern. She says, go do these setup rows, and now go do the chart until it's this long. And just repeat that chart. And so that's what I'm doing. And as you can see, oh my gosh, look at those cables. And look at the stitch definition. And yes, you can see through. This will all block out. This will be fine. This is just there between the cables. But you can see it is so gorgeous. I am in love with this yarn. This is the Cascade, and it is the ecological wool. And this is in the colorway Ebony. And you can see, I've already knit quite a bit, and I still got this much left. So it goes a long way, which it is. It's a lot of yarn, and it's a bulkier weight. Now, I did do one thing. She knits this. The pattern says to knit this on a size 6 cable. That was too tight for me. I didn't like the fabric I was getting. It wasn't stretching enough. I didn't think that it was going to fit him right. I just did not like the fabric. So I went up to a size 8. I used to have to always go up 2 needle sizes because I'm such a tight knitter, or I used to be. And cables tend to make me tight. So I did go up a couple of needle sizes. I'm doing this on a US 8, and you can just see how pretty this is. Very, very well written pattern. Beautiful, beautiful yarn, and isn't that beautiful? It's just turning out so, so well. And my brother watches this every week. And so I just want to say this, Alan, this is a visual representation of how much I love you. All right? All right. Now, moving right along and talking about people that I love, I cast on this week the Moose sweater. As you can see, I don't have a whole lot right now. But the Moose sweater for Brandon. And it is by, oh my gosh, Katie Creations. Anyway, I will put it down here. I have completely blanked on the designer's name. I do know, last week I was saying Linnea Renee. I couldn't remember. I was talking about the Ophelia Tee. It's Linnea Elizabeth, and she actually has done this pattern. She just finished it and put it out there on Instagram. It is so, so nice. But I cast this on. I'm just doing, and I'll put a picture up here so that you can see it, but I am just doing the colors that the designer used. So this is the navy blue. I have one ball of it. I did order the rest of it from Wool Warehouse, so it hopefully will be here next week. If not, I'll just knit until I run out of this, and then I'll put it down. But need 144 stitches before I do the next thing. You increase on every row, and it's stockinette, so it's just rolling like crazy. But I think I've got 90 stitches right now. So this is the back. You're doing the increases and just going along. Not a whole lot to say about it. So far, it's been a very well-written pattern. I've not had any problems with it. And it's all charted, which I'm excited about. All right, so I cast that on, started that. And then for Sarah's, I decided last week, I went ahead and blocked and dried what I had because I was a little worried that it was going to be too big. But it is not, because once it dried, yes, it's superwash, and so yes, it stretched. But once it dried, it kind of went back in a little bit, and if you put it through the dryer, it'll do even more. But I held this up to Sarah the other day, and it is going to fit her perfectly, and she loves the color. So I was really excited about that, and you can see the part that I blocked versus the part that I didn't. This needle is not quite long enough, so if I really stretched it, and I don't want to do that because I don't want it to, you know, to come out. If I held it up, and that's the back anyway, if I hold it up, right? It's not quite as floppy, but it has been blocked, so it is drapier. And so this is the Coffee Date by Samantha Guerin. And this is Yarn Smith's DK Superwash in the colorway Fjord Blue. Oh, and that was Yarn Smith Superwash 3310. I don't remember the name. I think it is just navy blue. I will put it down there whenever I list everything. But this one's for Sarah. Like I said, I showed it to her. I held it up. I measured it against her, and it's looking really, really nice. So this will be, oh my gosh. I don't know what happened. I just noticed I snapped the end, and that really upsets me because I love these needles. These are the Priam needles, but the end snapped off, so I will have to, I'll move this over to Chalgu. But this is a size 7, so very sad. Very sad. I don't know what happened, but the end snapped off. Huh. I will have to get me some more of these because I really, really, really enjoy these needles. They're ergonomic, and I really, really like them. I don't love plastic needles usually, but this is an exception. But this one died, so it will have to go away. All right, so that is one gift knit. And then I'll go ahead and talk about the one that I'm going to be adding is I got to meet Sarah's son on Sunday. They were on their way to church. They called, said, hey, do you want to go eat with us after church? I, of course, said yes. And so we went out to eat, and I got to meet Dallin. His name is Dallin. And I asked him, I told him that I would be happy to make him a sweater as well. So I sent him the Petite Knit pattern page because that's just the easiest thing to do. And so he picked the Dagmar, or not Dagmar, the Zipper Sweater Light. So the DK version of the Zipper Sweater. And Letha has this beautiful Cascade 220 Merino Superwash in a, they call it navy. It is not navy. It's more royal. It's definitely a medium blue. And he said his favorite color was a medium blue. So I'm going to grab a bowl of that. I'm going to send a picture to Sarah and make sure that that is a color that Dallin will like. And I'm going to start knitting with it, swatching with it and all that to make sure that it'll be good. But I did go look. Other people have knitted out of this yarn in this pattern, and it looks fantastic. So I'll be casting that on soon as well. So everybody is getting a sweater. And then another one is another Christmas gift knit is for my friend Shauna. And this is another one where I've gotten quite a significant amount of work done. And that is the Saharan V-Neck. And I did get it joined in the round. It is a drop shoulder. So I got it joined in the round, and it is a V-neck. And I had her try it on last night because she comes over and we watch TV. And so I had her try it on last night. It fits beautifully. And so I am working on this. This is, again, the Saharan V-Neck, and it is by Cheryl Makatari or Coco Amore Knits. And it is just, it is stunning. This colorway looks so good on her. Shauna's got blonde hair. When I get it done and all of that, I will get a picture of her wearing it. And I am knitting this out of Holst Garn Coast in the colorway Fauna and Holst Garn Titicaca in the colorway Mellow. And the Coast is their 55% wool and 45% cotton blend. And then the Titicaca is their 100% alpaca lace. So this would be like a Sayer Alpaca 1 or Filca Lana Alva. It's the equivalent of those. It is the same yardage, the same everything. And they have a really great color range in the alpaca. All right, so that is all of the gift things that I'm doing. And then there is one more special one that is for me. And I probably won't get it done until closer to Christmas, but I did pick it up and do a little bit this last week. And this is one that I am doing a buddy knit with Chelsea from Sunday Knitting Society and a couple of other ladies who watch the podcast. There's Melissa and Chris. And so we're the C's and M's. And the four of us are knitting this together. And I will tell you, Chris is the last one that joined, and she's going to be the first one finished because she is so much further than any of us. We have all been kind of putting it down and not working on it quite as much. But I am so excited about this. It is so beautiful. This is the Raglan, the book club Raglan by Sari Nordland. And oh, look at that. I know this is a dark yarn, and I know, like, if I get way back here, you can tell there's something going on, but you can't really tell what it is. But when you get close to me, look at those cables. This is just beautiful. And you know what? They have this color, and they have black cabled sweaters if you go buy sweaters in the store. So why would I let what somebody else might think and might notice across the, and that is not a moth. That was a fluff ball that came down. Because I saw something go in front of this and I was like, people are going to think that's a moth. But why would I let what other people might think about whether they can see my cables or not in this dark yarn of whether I was going to knit it or not? All right. And this, it is beautiful. It is also the first Sari Nordland that I've been knitting, and it will not be the last. I own a lot of her patterns as well, and I own one of her books, and I am going to knit several more things because she is a really good pattern writer. I like how she writes her patterns. And I'm knitting this out of one of my woolly yarn cones. And this is just 100% merino. The colorway is Demi-Tasse. They don't have any more of it. This woolly yarn is a dead stock company, so they're not going to get any more of this. And if you're really, really interested in cones, I will talk about them some as I do some of my stash tour up here. But if you're really, really interested in knowing about cones and like how far they go and what are good reasons, pros and cons to using them, etc., etc., Inga over on Knitting Traditions has a why cones video because she's fixing to do a cone along, which I'm going to enter with this because she said whips are welcome if you're using a cone, and I'm using a cone from one of the companies she mentions, which is Woolly Yarn. So, and I promise you that is not a moth. I just saw something go by again. I need to dust in here. All right. So that is that. And that is all that I'm working on right now. It is a lot. But I don't work on everything every single week. And you'll notice I didn't bring the Edinburgh sweater in here. I've only gotten a couple of rows done. Nothing significant. There's nothing really to show you. It just sits there, and when I really want something soft in my hands, I knit on it. But I'm not in a hurry because I can't wear it until fall and winter anyway, and we're just coming up into summer. So, all right. So I do want to, I'm going to pivot real quick, and I'm going to talk about respect. You know, I've talked about that I have had some problems with patterns before where they weren't written really clearly and stuff like that. The one that really comes to mind is the, I forget the name of the top, but it's a tee that has like lace down the back, and it's by Johanna, or Calibri by Johanna Garish. And I think she's German. I won't swear to that, but I think that it's a translation problem. But I'm not the only one. Several people have talked about how it's kind of hard to follow her patterns, but her patterns are so beautiful that they're worth the struggle. I hope that when I was talking about that and having trouble with that pattern, that I was not disrespectful and was not putting her down and was not putting her patterns down. I was watching a podcast not long ago. I'm not going to mention names because that's also, I'm not throwing people under the bus, and I'm not going to talk about whose podcast it was. But they were really down on one of Rebecca Clow's patterns. And I don't even remember which pattern it was. But for me, it tipped from just, this pattern's not jiving for me, and I'm not quite getting it, because that happens, right? Not everybody's pattern writing style is your cup of tea, and you may not love it as much, and it may not jive with you as much, and that's okay. But this particular case, it tipped for me into really putting the designer down. And maybe I felt that way because I really like Rebecca. Rebecca has been nothing but kind to me every time I've talked to her. I've done a couple of test knits for her. I feel like that she's done really well. And I've knitted several of her things. I mean, I've got 4 Tolsta Tees and 1 on the needles and 1 planned. I really like her patterns, and I really, really love her designs. It's okay if her writing style is not for everybody, but this one really did tip over to me. And for me, I really struggle, and I stop watching people, and I unsubscribe to channels and stuff that really go down that path of tearing somebody else down. I just don't like that. It's okay for it not to jibe, but be careful and don't tip over. And this is my ask for y'all as my audience. If I ever talk about a pattern and you feel like that I have tipped and I have become disrespectful and I'm tearing down the designer, please call me out in the comments, because that is not my intention. And if I don't know that that's how it's perceived, I can't correct that behavior. And then I will get off my soapbox now and just say that I hope that I have never had that behavior. And if I have, I apologize, because that's not what I meant to happen. Sometimes patterns are unclear, or they're just not for you, and that's fine. Just be careful. All right. So now I'm going to talk about my acquisitions. I don't know why I even said it the first of the year that, oh, I'm not going to buy as much yarn. And anybody who knows me, I'm sure that Teresa and Linda and anybody who knows me in real life, Dana, my yarn friends at the yarn shop, Michelle, everybody is laughing hysterically right now, because they're all like, yeah, we knew you weren't going to be able to resist, because I am addicted to yarn. Well, I told y'all I also am a sucker for a sale. And I did tell you I ordered from Holst Garn, and it did get here Saturday. Never told me it was out of customs, but it showed up on my porch Saturday. Or no, Friday. It was Friday, because they picked up my computer for FCB. So on Friday, my Holst Garn came in, and I'll show you what I got. And then I need an opinion. I seem to need opinions a lot lately. But what I got was, I got one thing. I have a black Monday sweater that's made out of the Coast and the Lucia and this black, and I think it's black. Yeah, black and licorice. And I noticed the other day I had it on, and I noticed that where I had done the sewn bind off, that I might wind up having to do a repair there, because it looked a little thin to me. And I think over years of wearing it, I may need to repair it. And I had used all of the yarn I had making the penny gloves to go with it. And I love the penny gloves and I'll wear them. But I just went ahead and grabbed a cup, a ball of each one of these, so that I have these on hand to repair if I need to make a repair on my Monday sweater. And then, again, a sale. And that's also why I bought this, because they put their balls of yarn in Coast, Super Soft, and Tides all on sale for 20% off, because they try to keep a pretty fairly even stock of cones versus balls, and they had sold more cones and they had more balls in the warehouse, so they put them on sale. So I had already decided, because this colorway, this combo was already on sale, and I was going to get a cone of these two, but I just got 5 balls. And I got these two. This is Coast Crimson, and then this is the Titicaca in the colorway Carmine. And those two will go together, and I will knit something out of them. And then Cobalt and Passion, right? I will knit something out of these together. I mean, just look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Yes, Cobalt. Shocker, I know. But I got these. And then I also got, and this one wasn't on sale, which is why I only got one. I got sweater quantities for both of those. I only got one of these because this one was not on sale, but it's to go with that cone that I showed y'all, where I showed y'all the different mohairs with it. I could hold this with it. And I told you I was going to make a matching sweater, a Saharan V-Neck, to go to Norway with Shauna. And so now I've got to decide which one of these colors I want. Do I want to do a green? Part of me is like, oh, I should do green, because then we both have a shade of green together, so it wouldn't just be a matching sweater, but we'd also be in the matching color family. But I also really like the red and the blue. So what do y'all think I should do? Should I do green so that we both have green, right? Those are kind of pretty together, so we'd be walking down together and be touring together wearing it. Or should I do a red or a blue? Drop me an opinion. But that's what the Holst Garn was for. So that's all my Holst Garn. And then it was local yarn store day on Saturday, and I lost my mind. And for us here, it was all weekend, because our 4 yarn shops are in here, because we do have one. I don't know if I consider Three Birds a yarn shop per se because they are a dye studio, but they were included in this. And that's the one that I did not make it to. But there are 3 other yarn shops. There's LYS shop, which is Sweet Skeins. There's Ozark Knitting Company, which is a pop-up shop. They have an online presence and then they do pop-ups. And then there's Yarn Alchemy up in Bentonville. And they did like a little mini yarn crawl for the local yarn store day. So I wound up hitting 3 of them. And Ashley up at Yarn Alchemy put her summer yarns on 20% off. And so she carries Colors of Knitting for Olive that Letha does not. And so I grabbed a sweat or a t-shirt quantity of, you will notice this is the same color. This is bottle green. I think the bottle green is new in both the cotton merino and the pure silk. But I went ahead and got those. I'm not sure what I'm making out of these yet, but I got those because I really, really like the bottle green. And I may wind up with the merino and a mohair as well, or I may just buy mohair and hold it with this cotton merino. Not sure. But I got these. And then I got some Petite Mandarin by Holst Garn in red because Letha does not have red. She has a beautiful, beautiful burgundy that I will wind up getting. But I really am in my red phase right now, so I got the red. And then at Ozark Knitting Company, I got just one little lonely ball of yarn. I'm trying not to spend all of my money. But I did get this because I wanted to see if this matched up with the mohair that I got from Rowan, that discontinued mohair that I'm going to hold with the woolly knit. But I was going to try to do that to make another Cove sweater, but it did not. So I've got some other mohair coming in to see if it will match. We'll see. But I would like to do another Cove sweater, another Cove Raglan in this color. Isn't that beautiful? So I got this to swatch with things. And then headed to Letha's. And I got several things. I got 6 balls of this because I already had one. And this is the Cascade 220. And the colorway is 8892. I forget the name of it. But this is what I'm going to make. I told y'all whenever I did that test knit for the Woody pullover that I made for Michelle, and I did hers in that ginger color, that I was going to make myself one as well. And this is going to be the color in that. And then I'll have to get with Teresa to figure out what color I'll do hers in. But I am going to make mine out of this color. So I got the rest of those to make that. And then I am going to make the next Tolsta Tee out of this gorgeous yarn here. This is the Bamboo Pop Sock yarn. And this is the colorway. And this is a bamboo cotton blend. And this is the colorway. It tells me somewhere. It really does tell me. Oh, there it is, Valentine. But look at that hot pink. Won't that be a gorgeous Tolsta? And so I'm going to make it out of that. And then this may wind up becoming a Cumulus Tee. But it will become a tee. Jennifer at the knitting shop, she made a Cumulus Tee out of it was a different striped. This is also Bamboo Pop Sock. But it was a different stripe. This is Waves. And she made hers. And the patterning of it is just gorgeous. So I bought 3 of these as well. And then she had her Holst Garn Coast on sale. And so I bought 3 of these. Yeah, 3 of these because I already had one. And this is the colorway Plum. To make a long sleeve, it may become a long sleeve Tolsta, but it is going to become a long sleeve blouse, like one of those thin blouses out of fingering yarn, so that I can wear it in the spring and fall. And then I got 2 skeins of this powder, and it's a really, 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 really pale pink, and I got it to be like a contrast. I only got 2. I may wind up buying a few more. She had these because she's trying to clearance them out on for 30% off. So I may wind up having to buy some more of this. I don't know, because I do really, really like it. And it's really close to the color that I did my Anchor Tee out of with the Holst Garn color. So I don't know. I may wind up with more of this, but I bought it to do as like a contrast color to see, you know, do it in something where I wanted like a really high contrast with the light color. All right, and I think that is it. Now, I do have some more coming from Wool Warehouse because I'm sure as many orders as I've placed in this last month, they're like, who is this woman? But it wouldn't matter because I'd have to place multiples anyway because they've got a 1.8 kilogram limit before you have to split up your yarn. So, but I do have some coming for the, what's it called? The Brandon sweater. So I've got the rest of those colors coming, and I've got some felted tweed coming to complete that I told you that there were like one-offs and stuff. And then I've got a little bit of mohair and stuff coming to try to figure out what will go with this ultramarine, because that is just a beautiful color. All right. And guys, that is it. But I do want to talk about one thing, and it's a good thing that I got my notes. I said last week I was going to talk to y'all a little bit about Barrette silk and the difference in the knitting for olive silk, and then I didn't. Barrette silk is also known as cruelty-free silk, because what happens with the regular silk, mulberry silk, you know, that really shiny, beautiful silk, they take the silk worm, you know, the worms, like they make a cocoon, and that's the silk, and they're really long strands. My understanding is that for the regular silk, they boil that cocoon and it kills all of the worms that are inside there, and then they harvest the silk. Guys, silkworms are not endangered. Whatever. I don't buy this because it's cruelty free. I buy it because I like it, and it's an added bonus that it's cruelty free. So, but with Barrette silk, what they do is they wait until the silkworms, you know, their little pupas, they become something else, a moth or something, and they wait until they become their adult form, and they break out of the cocoon, that big silk thing. If you've ever seen one, they're really big. They break out of it. Well, what that does whenever they break out of that cocoon is it makes the fibers short. So they're not long and shiny and pretty. They are shorter, and they are more like knitting with cotton or something, and you can see this is not shiny. I like it. I like how it feels. I like how it wears in the summer. I think it's very cooling. I really, really like it. And like I said, it's an added bonus. It is cruelty free. And if you look on here, it does say, well, it says it's an OECO Tech Standard 100, and I thought it said something on here cruelty free, but I don't see it. But Barrette silk is known as a cruelty free, and it does have a little moth picture on it, or butterfly picture, so that may be what indicates it's cruelty free, but a lot of them will say cruelty free on there. So that is the story behind Barrette silk. All right, do with that what you want. All right, and guys, just, you know, drop a line. Let me know what y'all were thinking, or what y'all were working on and everything this week. And as I said, and I'll include again at the end, just in case you didn't do the little QR code, because I'm being fancy this week with this little QR code for the group chat. I'll put that up here again. So if you are interested in joining the KAL and you want to join the chat, go ahead and just use that QR code and you will join right in. And so for those of you who have already joined, yay. For those of you who are going to join, welcome. And I cannot wait to see what everybody makes in that KAL. All right, guys, I will see y'all next week. And until then, I hope y'all have a fantastic knitty